of Suribia, prohibited relations. And we're talking about Anida. Anida, a menstrual cycle. And that woman is spiritually impure, and the laws that go together with that. Okay, the bleeding of Nida and the bleeding of a Ziva. So Ziva is also blood from the uterus, but is not in its conventional time that you would expect to see. The bleeding before childbirth, another, right? And the pure blood that follows childbirth. So it's all the bleeding from the uterus, but it's called pure blood. Are all one type of bleeding. They all come from the uterus, from the same source. The laws of
Ziva's before childbirth?
No.
After.
No. Ziva, I said, was not during the menstrual cycle.
Mm-hmm.
We'll learn more about it.
Okay.
It's a funny kind of, it's like when you will see from the uterus, but not as a result of your menstrual cycle. It's still coming from the uterus, but it's not the regular menstrual cycle. Let's put it that way. Okay. The laws applying to this bleeding, however, change according to the time and circumstance, causing the woman who discovers the bleeding to be considered as pure, a nida or a zava, right? So you could be pure, or you could be a nida, which is one law, and a ziva that's actually a different law, a zava, which is a different law. In other words, the parameters of the law, right? Even though they're all coming from the same place.
Yeah.
So what is implied? When a woman menstruates for the first time, or when she menstruates at a fixed time at which it has been established that she will menstruate, she's a nida for 7 full days. Okay? So she's this applies whether she continues to bleed throughout the 7 days or she only discovered a drop of blood. If she discovers blood on the 8th day, this is called blood of Ziva because it comes outside of the time of Nida. Okay. Liba, you have a question?
Ziva is just like, in one extent, it's like, even if you have like an 8-day long menstrual cycle, then on the 8th.
No, it's not. If it was a continuation, well, we'll see. It's tricky.
Kind of.
It's tricky. Well, wait, good question. We'll wait for those. Liba, do you have a question? So I see your hand up.
Rabbi, I just wanted to let you know that it's coming up as Tanya instead of Rambam.
Oh.
On the feeds, it says Tanya. It doesn't say Rambam.
I thought I changed it. That's funny. Oh, I didn't update it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I typed it, but didn't press enter. Yeah. Okay. Here. Okay, is the Rambam there?
Yes.
Okay. You know what? I better stop it and restart it. Be smarter. Okay. So what is implied, right? 3 different. So again, so the first 7 days, whether you see only on one day, but the first 7 days are called Nida, okay? On the 8th day, it's called a Ziva. It's outside of the time of Nida, okay? But yeah, let's just use the Hebrew terms, okay? So we won't get, confused.
Yeah.
Okay, any blood that is discovered between one fixed time, that a woman can be expected to menstruate, and the next fixed time that she can be expected to menstruate is called blood of Ziva. In other words, not in a fixed time. Fixed time is menstrual, right? If it's outside, right, in between that fixed time,
Wait, the fixed time is menstrual.
fixed time is menstrual. Let's say it used to be, today it's not like that. Women are like, the nature of women was, and the nature of everybody was much more attuned to the physiology and to a proper physiology. And the proper physiology is that you will have a cycle monthly and it will be at the same time. It can even be the same hour, right, of the day of the 18th. Today is the, what's today? Today is Yud. Today is 17th of the month, 17th of every month. Woman would see, she would see 9 a.m. in the morning. That was her cycle. So that's called a fixed time, right? It's been established that way. We're going to learn more about that, okay? If it's something outside of that, then that's not a nida anymore. That's a ziva. Okay, it's Allah Hashem by Moshe on Sinai that there's no more than 11 days between one menstrual bleeding and another. Okay. All of the 7 days beginning with the day of the fixed time when a woman can be expected to menstruate has established the days of nida. So again, on the 17th of the month, the Jewish month, right, she would see, right? So the 7 days, so and again, this, because again, back in the day, today it's not that common, but it's still common. I mean, it can be, but it's not so common that you have literally a fixed time in your cycle. Remember, it's based on the moon, right? So that fixed time from the 17th, 7 days, that's expect the menstrual cycle, days of nida. This applies whether the woman menstruates or not. Why? Because she has that fixed time, right? Now, we're going to learn on how you can lose that fixed time. If it happens 3 months in a row that you don't have it at that time, then you lose it. Why are they called days of nida? Because they are fit for the woman to be considered a nida. Any blood discovered during these days is considered the blood of nida, right? Because that's her expected time.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to deal with when a person doesn't have an expected time. But again, back in the day, most people did. By the way, just to show you how our bodies are out of sync, like are out of whack, right? Even though we live longer and so on and so forth, but there was the natural cycle of life that people were much more attuned to, right? Inherently attuned to, that today we don't have the same. Now, halacha number 5, the 11 days that follow these 7 are called the days of Ziva. Okay, this applies whether a woman discovers bleeding or not. Why are they called the days of Ziva? Because they are fit for a woman to be considered a Ziva. Any blood discovered during these days is considered as blood of Ziva. Take care with regard to these names and days of Nida and days of Ziva. Okay, 7 days is Ziva, 11 days, 7 days is days of Nida, right? Whether she becomes a Nida or not, right? And 11 days are days of Ziva. Okay. Throughout her entire life, from the time she establishes the time when she can be expected to menstruate until she dies, or until she transfers the time she can be expected to menstruate to another date, right? In other words, she changes this from the 17th. She's no longer, menstruates on the 17th, right? Now a different date. She should count 7 days from the beginning of that day and she became expected to menstruate, and 11 days after them. Afterwards, she counts another 7 days and another 11 days. Take care of the reckoning so that you will know a woman's status if she discovers blood. Wasn't the days of Nida, of Ziva. Because, by the way, okay, I just have to preface, I'm sorry I didn't do this previously. We're now talking about this in biblical law. We're going to see later on, actually, it won't be today, that in rabbinic law, we don't follow this. This is a very complicated system on biblical law of 7. By the way, this is the original 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
The original 7-Eleven. Today, we, as again, I don't remember if it's tomorrow we're going to learn it or a call now. We will bring the two together, Nida and Ziva, and take the stringencies of both and make them into one law. So we no longer have a law of Nida 7 days and laws of Ziva for 11 days. They're all brought together, and we call it Nida, taking on the stringency of the Ziva. Okay? But right now, Rambam is speaking from a purely biblical perspective, right? And for those, keep tiresome mishpacha, family purity, and a woman goes to the mikvah, you see, it's a little confusing because this is not the way we do it.
Yeah.
Okay, just to, I should have put it out there earlier, but okay. So take care of the reckoning that you will know the woman's status if she discovers blood was in the days of Nida, days of Ziva, regard the woman's life. Same pattern for 7 days and 11 days, unless the pattern was interrupted by birth, as will be explained. Okay? Or that she changed and she no longer sees on the 17th anymore, right? I don't know why, you mentioned that earlier. When a woman discovers uterine bleeding during the days of Ziva for only 1 day or for 2 consecutive days, she's called a minor Zava. And she is called one who watches a day for a day, meaning she's impure for that day.
Yeah.
If she sees it in the 11-day period,
Yeah.
right? If she discovers uterine bleeding for 3 consecutive days, she's a Zava in the complete sense of the term. She's called a major Zava, or merely referred to as Zava without any further description. This is derived from in Leviticus. It says when a woman will have a flow of blood for many days, the minimum of implied plural form days is 2. Many indicates at least 3. So 3, that means she's a major Zava.
Right, I thought it said minor Zava.
Minor Zava means you're only 1 day
1 day,
impure.
Okay.
Okay? Major Zava, we're going to see now.
But we haven't yet established the rules of what someone does if they're Zava, right?
No.
No, okay.
No. I mean, they go to the mikvah, but besides that, we haven't. No. It means going to the mikvah. A woman has to go to the mikvah.
And this is probably, I shouldn't even just say this, but you can kind of see how like the rabbinic law now of parish B'tach, whatever it's called, family purity is like more stringent than this, right?
Yeah.
In terms of if you see blood once, that's
Yeah.
game over. Or...
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. There's no difference between a major Zava and a minor Zava except for the counting of 7 spotless days that are necessary to bring a sacrifice. So if you saw 3 days in a row, you're a major Zava in that 11-day period, and you have to then have 7 spotless days.
Okay.
And that's what we have today, and that's taken from the Zava.
Yeah.
After you have the 5 days or more of bleeding of Nida, right? Then you count 7 days. Where does that 7 days come from?
Zava.
It doesn't come from Nida, it comes from Zava.
Yeah.
But we put the two together. But I'm just telling you that now, just to give you a little, but that's where we're going. Okay. And the minor Zava need only count 1 day, right? As we said. And a major Zava must bring a sacrifice when she purifies herself, and a minor Zava need not. They are both impure, and the prohibition against relations apply to both of them equally.
Hmm.
right? Difference is one is impure for 1 day, right?
Minor Zava.
Minor, and a major, she's impure. If she saw blood for 3 days, and then 7 clean days she needs to have. Okay.
Did we establish earlier that Nita only lasts, because I thought Nita was defined as from like her usual range, because it was always the same, right?
Again, remember, we're only speaking biblically now. So, whatever
Okay,
kind of put
that's-
aside for a moment,
yeah.
because I just told you something about the 7 spotless days
Yeah,
is a law of Nida, but it's taken from Zava,
yeah,
right? Even
Okay.
if she saw in her, even if she, Nida, you don't have to wait 7 days.
Mhm.
You have the 7 days, that's it. Finished, right?
Yeah,
But no, we added something, the spotless days, but that comes from Zava.
okay,
I'm saying we took the stringencies of both.
yeah,
Okay, well, as we will see, right? So what is implied is she discovered blood in the days of Ziva, whether she discovered in the beginning or of the night, or she discovered at the end of the day, that entire day she's impure. And bleeding did not cease from the time she discovered it until sun sets. She should watch herself throughout the night. If there is no signs of bleeding at night, she should arise in the morning and immerse herself after sunrise, right? Because that's it. She should watch herself for the entire day. If there's no signs of bleeding, then she's pure. Then a pure day to compensate for the impure day, and she's permitted her husband at night. So she had one impure day. We're talking about the Zava now, right?
Yeah.
An 11-day time period, which is not the regular cycle of when she would see menstrual, right?
Yeah.
But she saw, and it was uterine blood. So it is for the 1 day impure, she goes to the mikvah and is 1 day pure, and that following night she could be with her husband. Okay, again, that's biblical law. That's not how we do
Yeah.
things today.
But biblical law here, it's saying that until sunset, so like if she found blood 1 minute before sunset.
She
then
was impure for that full
for that
day.
whole day,
Then the next day, if she can go, if it didn't continue into the next day,
yeah,
then she'll goes to the mikvah, and that night, because she has to have a full day
Yeah.
pure,
yeah,
and that night she could be with her husband.
okay. But if it bled 1 minute after sunset, then she
Yeah,
has to
then,
go
then, so
another day.
then that might be a question of 2 days then. If it continued before sunset until after
Yeah,
after nightfall,
nightfall, yeah,
right, for over half an hour. So
Yeah.
that, by the way, we're going to get
Yeah.
there. It's going to bring up all those situations. But then that's 2 days considered,
yeah,
because you had the end of 1 day and the beginning of a next day.
yeah, 2 days.
So that's 2 days. And then she'd have to wait. She'd have to go after the second day to
Oh,
the
yeah.
mikvah, and then the third night that she would be permitted to her husband. Okay. She'd watch herself in the eye and no signs. Okay. Number 10. If she discovered uterine bleeding also on the second day, okay, whether at night or whether during the day, after she immersed herself, the second day is also impure, and she must watch herself for the entire third night. If there's no signs of bleeding at night, she should arise in the morning, immerse herself at sunrise. She should watch herself for the entire day, right? That there's no bleeding.
Yeah,
If there's no sign of bleeding, then she's pure. Then that pure day, it's a second day to compensate for the 2 impure days, and she's permitted to her husband that night.
I'm sorry, I have to go.
Okay. If she discovered uterine bleeding on the third day, whether during the day or night or at night, she's a major Zalman now because it's 3 days in a row. 3 days in a row, now she's major, right? Then she must count 7 pure days when there's no uterine bleeding at all. So she has to wait till there's no more uterine bleeding, then count 7 clean days as a result, right? She must count 7 days. That's what the verse says. She must immerse herself on the 7th day after sunrise, and is permitted to her husband that night. On the 8th day, she brings her sacrifice two turtles and 2 doves, right? Which is unique for a Zava. And how much we have left here? All right. I'm gonna just do a couple more. Let's realize the time here. My gosh, timer. Moves quickly when you're having fun. When a minor zava immerses herself at night, during the day, she is watching, or a major zava immerses herself in the seventh day, it is as if she did not immerse herself. She's like, I need to immerse herself within 7 days. She has to do it on, you're right, after the seventh day. Or no, yeah. Not seventh night. You do the seventh night starts the day. So you could do it by the day, but not the night. Okay, I'm going to stop here. 6:30 tonight, folks. We started already with some of the questions in today's Chumash and Rashi. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be amazing.
Thank you, Rabbi.